on the recording. Great. So this is today's Arborist call, which is on the 19th of October. I'm Pili from the Zcash Foundation, and I'm hosting today's call. The agenda for today's meeting is pretty much as usual. We will hear some updates from the two core teams, and then we'll have some research and implementation updates. Finally, there'll be some time for any announcements from any teams that would like to let us know anything, and there will also be some open discussion time for anything related to protocol development. So what are these calls? This is a bi-weekly call where Zcash protocol contributors meet up to discuss the upgrade timelines and process, protocol research and development efforts, design and implementation of new protocol features, and to identify blockers and any unresolved issues. And the purpose of this is so that we can make Zcash protocol development accessible to interested parties and provide transparency to the community. So if you want to attend, you can register at zcasharborist.org. If you want to become more involved and present an item, you can email us at arboristcall@cfnd.org, and we'll provide a presentation slot for you. And then outside of the Arborist School, you can participate in the Zcash community in a number of ways. There's a number of grant programs available. You can take part in community discussions in the Zcash Discord or the Zcash Community Forum. And there's clickable links for all these at zcasharborist.org. So with all that preamble, we can move on to the core team updates, and we have the Zcash Foundation updates on Zebra from Marek today.
So earlier this week, we released Zebra 1.3, and this release contains 3 interesting user visible updates. The first one is that the spend before sync feature is fully supported. The second one is that we enabled progress bars in the default build, so users don't have to compile Zebra with special compilation flag. The progress bars are enabled by default, and users will need to enable them in Zebra's config, in the config file. When you enable the progress bars, Zebra will show you Zebra will show these progress bars in your terminal instead of the log output, and the log output is redirected into a file. And the last update in this release is that we fixed some performance bugs in some mining-related RPCs, specifically when you requested network solutions over a large amount of blocks. Zebra would take a long time to return the result. So that is fixed, and after the release, we merged a PR that enables all the mining-related RPCs in the default build. So users won't need to, again, compile Zebra with a special flag to enable mining, but it will be supported by default. But this is gonna land in the next release. And that's all about it in the last 2 weeks.
Great, thank you, Marek. Who do we have from the electric coin company to give us some updates on Zcash, the underwater SDKs? Suko, go ahead.
Oh, I can't hear anything. Sorry.
You don't hear me?
I can.
Okay, and is this a 2-week update? Has it been 2 weeks?
Probably an issue
already?
on my. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yes. Okay,
Now,
2 weeks.
I can hear everyone now. Sorry.
Great. Welcome back. Since 2 weeks ago, we released SDKs 2.0.2, which fix a few more bugs. We've released several updates of the Zashi private beta, and if anyone wants to help test the private beta, reach out to me. That the changes in Zashi are implementing the UI. Like, we have a whole new UI design, and it's like half implemented or partially implemented, and we've been releasing it to the private beta testers as we go. I think we made a Zcash release since 2 weeks ago. Dara,
No, it was 3 weeks ago. It
Oh,
was
okay,
3 weeks
fine.
ago.
We're already up to date on that one. We are aware we've gotten a lot of really good help from our wallet developers, Nighthawk, Edge, and Unstoppable. They're all three making good progress. I invited them to this meeting to explain in their own words what their plans are, because I can't necessarily relay it accurately. But I only invited them 5 minutes ago, so I don't expect them to show up. But they have all three been doing quite a lot of work integrating the SDK to enable spend before sync and to upgrade their wallets to support that. I expect them to ship results soonish. And they've been giving us lots of good bug reports and requests and things. So at the moment, we have fixed one more bug in the SDK. We've started the process of releasing SDK 2.0.3, and we've also gotten a new bug report from Edge. So there's at least one more bug in the SDK, but we'll probably release 2.0.3 like today or tomorrow, and then probably fix that last bug, the very last one, and then release SDK 2.0.4 maybe next week.
Does that bug include the one just reported by Matt? This is Paul from Edge, by the way. Sorry, I'm in my car.
Yeah, that's
caught me just kind of in the middle of bringing the kids to school.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in the middle of bringing kids to school. I really appreciate you jumping in. Did you hear me just saying that I wasn't sure I could accurately relay your plans to the rest of us?
I heard you say that, and you mentioned 2.0.3 and their last few bugs and whatnot.
Yeah, and the one that
like,
you guys reported is the
issue.
Yeah, that's the last one that hasn't been fixed yet. So 2.0.3 is going to come out today or tomorrow without that fix.
Without that fix,
Probably.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. All right.
So while you're here, it's the one I pasted into our private Slack an hour ago.
Okay. Yeah,
that's the one that we haven't yet diagnosed. Yeah. While you're here, Paul, and picking up your kid or dropping off your kids at school, can you summarize your plans for Edge's support of new improved Zcash functionality?
Yeah, I think we've got pretty much on the roadmap, or I mean, basically we're entirely just blocked by whatever functionalities in the SDK for full support of everything we could, everything under the sun. So at this point, we've got unified addresses mixed with automatic auto shielding into the app, full memo support, both send and receive detection of memo support. I'm not sure what, obviously any of the shielded pools that are supported by the SDK, will support.
That's
from
sapling.
What we can tell with the 2.0 SDK right now, it's sapling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, whatever. You tell me. I don't believe there's anything else. Obviously, the faster sync helps, although in our at least anecdotal testing, it's for a lot of users, especially if they created a wallet quite a while ago, like a year plus ago, it still could be pretty darn slow to sync from scratch. That includes some of my own personal wallets, but it is at least it's a notable improvement, although it's still a little bit laggy. But yeah, that's kind of the roadmap that we've got. Is just whatever the SDK supports, we currently have the plan to support, and that's just something I'm not aware of on the roadmap for the SDK.
So when WEN?
When are we supporting it? It's actually it's in testing right now.
Yeah.
Well, we'd be shipped, except the SDK itself wasn't ready, so we're ironing out the bugs. Right now, we have a freeze to push to the store tomorrow, which should be available by early next week at latest, because Apple could take anywhere from a few hours to a few days to approve. But the new SDK would be in the stores by at latest Monday, Tuesday next week. Our only concern is that, you know, we updated and then another bug showed up and our developers are having to fix it. So the issue with transactions missing was reported when we tried to resync. All transactions were showing, except that, hold on real quick. Oops, what happened here? Got to call in. Yeah, all the transactions were showing, except that when we hit resync, it didn't actually resync the wallet. An update was given to us such that the resync does work, except not all transactions show. And so we're kind of now having to hack around that. And the concern being is like, you know, how much work does that entail? And will that cause bugs? Because we're very, very late in our release cycle, meaning that we were code frozen about 2 weeks ago and entirely in testing. So the idea is that we don't put in major changes in the middle of testing a release candidate. And these changes end up being somewhat major and potential cause for regression. So you kind of see where we're stuck in this. Ideally, 2 weeks ago, we code freeze, we test very minor things to update, and things are all hunky-dory. But having to go through 2 updates of the SDK in the middle of release candidate is kind of our concern, and whether or not things might slip.
Okay, noted.
Yeah. That's where we're at. Ideally,
Thanks.
yeah, we'd be live by early next week.
Okay.
Yeah, so the most recent bug we fixed, which was something that affected only the V transactions view, and could cause notes to be merged when they shouldn't be. So that was done as a point release, or is being done as a point release. So that shouldn't affect the APIs or anything like that. It's just a bug fix.
Understood. Can you share what is going into the 2.03? Like what's getting fixed there?
That's a different bug. That's not the one you reported.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for the update, Paul.
Any other questions or updates from the ECC? Okay, let's move on.
I guess the proof of stake research is in a separate section. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, it will be. I think it's after 36. You mean the trailing finality? Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so we have Zcash shielded assets next. Do we have anyone from Fedit today? So Vivek, I think.
Yeah. Hi. Hi everyone. So yeah, I think in terms of the Zcash shielded assets, we have, I think, an exciting update in that we are pretty much ready with the circuit optimizations that we've been doing on like the ZSA protocol circuit. And I think like we should be, like we have PRs open on the Halo 2 and the Orchard crates. And I think they should be ready really soon for like then the Zcash team at ECC and others to like review and let us know how that's going. So that's exciting. The zips, based on the zips, I think we are pretty much like we are in the final stages of getting our like draft zips for the transfer and the issuance, which is like zips 226 and 227 merged into the main Zcash repo, which is nice because then like rather than just having it stubs and looking at it from our pull request, we now will have it on the like with the main all the other zips. And yeah, it looks good. It looks like we are close to having everything like
that's just waiting for my review, which I will try to do today or tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I saw like you'd done some comments. I think I resolved most of the pretty much all of those, but yeah, I'll keep an eye out for your further comments. Yeah, I guess the other like so in our last meeting, I discussed that we shifted from like choosing the issuance authorization signature scheme like it used to be a red palace signature. We shifted to using the BIP 340 Schnorr signature instead. So that we've added those changes in our zips. So that's in the zips. But like, yeah, I'm still working on adding that to the implementation, and that will be added into the Orchard crate. Our changes to the Orchard crate in the coming. That's one of the things we are working on. Other than that, so there's work that's kind of like still in progress with like moving all the work that we've done in the Orchard crates and stuff under feature flags and moving it to separate, like a transaction v6 sort of data structure and getting that in so that we can, basically the feature flags are helpful because then we can sort of get the stuff merged into the repo as well. And then we can slowly like get things working without, affecting the actual functionality of the stuff. That's all perfectly fine. Yeah, and other than that, I think we have like, we are also working with the Zebra team, and we are like looking at making a wallet that will have like first like support for just like your V5 transactions, and then further also the ZSA stuff. So that's also exciting work that we've begun to like get us like ready to like switch to like using Zebra instead of Zcash. I think that's pretty much my update for this time. Thanks.
Thank you, Vivek. Any questions for Vivek? Okay, let's move on.
Oh, actually,
to
just
yeah,
a quick. I think I didn't mention that like we've also been working on the asset swaps project. So that I think we have like a draft document that's pretty close to, I think, like what we think is a good initial zip structure. So that's also something that hopefully in like pretty soon we'll be able to like send it out to people like at ECC and then look into like getting it as a draft zip and things like that. So that's coming soon.
Thank you. Next up, we have trading finality. Anyone here to talk about this? Nate.
Yeah.
Hi, Nate.
Hello. Okay, so the status here is that the crosslink design seems fairly complete as a first draft, and this includes security arguments for liveness and safety.
The one for safety isn't complete. The one for liveness is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's still in progress. The high-level book, we're in the midst of sort of updating that to integrate crosslink and link to the crosslink documents. And then we are starting to try to move more of our development out into the community. So one thing we plan to do is switch our development conversations over to the R&D Discord. So in the proof of stake channel, you'll begin seeing discussions about, PRs to the book content or work on a simulator that we've started, and discussion about that. So if you're interested, go show up in the R&D Discord proof of stake channel. And our next sort of high-level goal that we hope to have done by next Arborist call in 2 weeks would be, there's a revision of the book that's updated to refer to crosslink, and all of the content is consistent with crosslink. And hopefully we could have the safety argument complete by that time. Does that seem possible to you?
Yeah,
Zara?
that seems realistic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then additionally, we have a simulator. We are just starting and improving.
Do you want me to talk about the simulator?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, yeah. So it's a discrete event simulation. So it can run the network faster than real time because it's not actually doing the time delays. And where it says at the moment, it's got a basic implementation of a network with message passing. And I'm just working on the abstractions for the best chain protocol. So that's a simulation of Zcash's current proof of work protocol. So I've got it's obviously, because it's just a simulation, it doesn't need to be as detailed, but it needs to account for the things that could potentially complicate the TFL design. So it needs to simulate UTXOs, and it will need to simulate anchors and nullifiers and note commitment structures, and in less detail than the actual implementation, but enough to show up the potential problems.
Yeah. And then finally, I posted the link to the book rendering in the chat there. So if you go read that now, it's going to be somewhat inconsistent with Crosslink, but the high-level details, like the motivation, why we're taking this approach, what the goals are accurate. In 2 weeks, hopefully it'll be consistent with Crosslink. So if you're interested in just getting an overview of what we're doing, you can check out that link. If you want to follow the fine-grained details, you can show up in the R&D Discord or head over to the GitHub repository. And that link is in the book under a section called Getting Involved. So,
did we talk about the DAG? So the way we organize development at ECC is that, and also at ZF use this as well, is to have a directed graph of dependencies between tasks and issues. So you can see that it's public for, there's one for TFLs, one for Zcash and the wallet code and so on. So they are all at, let me see what URL it is. I'll paste the URL into the chat.
Oh, thanks. I didn't realize that was already published for TFL, but that's great.
Yes, it is.
Right. So that will be a fairly fine-grained way to see sort of what we currently have planned and what progress we're making along those issues.
Marek, you have a question?
I tried to find the simulation, but I didn't see anything. Is that public?
It is public, yes. It's at on GitHub at Zcash/simtfl, so SIMTFL.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, exciting stuff. I look forward to reading the latest when it's out. Any other comments on trailing finality or questions? Okay, let's move on then to the Sustainability Fund. Do we have anyone here to talk about that today? I don't actually see anyone.
Yeah, it doesn't.
In the panelists.
I don't think anybody's here.
Okay. Anyone, Derek, you want to give any updates on the SIP process, or we can move on otherwise if you don't have anything to mention?
I think so the work on CSAs has already been mentioned. I don't think there's anything else to talk about that.
Cool. I meant this has Sustainability Fund.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I thought you said the ZIP process in general.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
No, there's yeah, we've been busy on other things.
Okay, cool. So I think we'll move on. Frost, I'm actually doing this today. Hope I don't mess it up. So we've been waiting for the final audit report to be published. So we just had a few final comments we wanted to add to the final report. But I think those are resolved now. So once NCC publish it publicly, we can share with the community. But it's all good. So we're happy with the outcome, and just watch out for this in the next few days or week or so. So now we've got the audit report. Well, the second audit. The next step will be to release a stable release candidate. So we've got an API which we think is stable, but we'd like to the release candidate, get some comments, some feedback from any potential users in case there are any final changes that need to be made. And then we can, if we don't get any feedback within a month or so, then we'll just tag a stable release with a stable API then. And then, so after that, we had a community call last week. And following on from that discussion, we've been thinking about what's the best way. Well, first, how do we want Frost participants to communicate during the various different stages in the protocol? So we're still not sure. We're looking into using various different libraries, various different peer-to-peer protocols. But we've decided, whilst we do that investigation on the side, we've decided to start off with simplest use case, which we think would be using a trusted dealer, so centralizing communication, the trusted dealer, and just having a single user essentially managing the key shares between their own devices. So then probably for a key share recovery use case. So we're going to try to implement that first, share that with wallet developers, with any community members that are interested, and see how we iterate on the more difficult use cases, and hopefully come up with some solutions for the communication in the meantime. On the reference implementation, we've implemented a feature an option to disable cheater detection during the signature aggregation phase. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anyone else from the Frost team that can add anything else. Does anyone have any questions about that?
So what was that option about cheater detection? Can you go into that in more detail?
Yeah, so we have implemented cheater detection, which means that the coordinator needs to store the verifying shares, so the public keys. So we've had an option to not have to do that, so to not have to store the verifying shares. And so therefore you are not able to identify which participant is responsible if the verification of a group signature fails. So that's just turning off the potential for that.
Yeah, so you can tell that someone cheated, but not who.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much overhead does the cheater detection result in?
No idea. Maybe you'll have to ask Conrad or Natalie or one of them. But I can find out. I can find out for you. Okay. Let's move on to announcements. Does anyone have any news they'd like to share? Any announcements they'd like to make? Please raise your hand and we'll either promote you to panelist or let you speak. No announcements today. Everyone's quiet. Let's move on to open discussion. Any items on the backlog that we'd like to discuss today? No? Okay. Let's leave it there then. Thank you very much to all participants and attendees. Next hour's call will be at a later time of 21 ETC. This may or may not be at a different time than what you're used to. If it is at a different time, it's probably earlier, but don't trust me. Just please check your calendars carefully. So until then, goodbye, everyone. And thank you again.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Thanks, Billy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheerio.